Welcome to Sailing Sweet Ruka. We are Kate and Curtis, two racing sailors from the Midwest that said goodbye to our house, jobs, and cars to buy a boat and sail around the world the hard way, via Cape Horn and the Cape of Good Hope. We are sharing our adventures with you. Click subscribe and come along for the ride.
Good morning. This is what the sunrise looks like over Africa. Africa is just about 100 or so miles off of our port side right now. And so far, so good. It's just like any other ocean. It is pretty windy, pretty wavy, pretty choppy, but we're getting along just fine. We slowed down just a little bit overnight, furled our sail a little just to let things chill out and give the autopilot a little bit of an easier job. There's a couple of ships up here that are popping up on our AIS. We're going to have to take some action to make sure that we avoid. But other than that, we're just going to keep on keeping on. Enjoy.
It's been one full day out here at sea. I'm gonna call it day 2. And we had 3 cargo ships last night and 1 fishing boat that was 200 feet. And mostly a quiet night. But man, were we tired. We weren't quite expecting 30 knots. So anyways, I'm still exhausted, even though I did manage to get some sleep this morning. It's the afternoon, and Roxy's figured out how to brace herself, and she's pretty happy. She was a lot calmer than me when we first got out into those big waves, surprisingly. And yeah, it's a beautiful sunshiny day, and hope the weather stays nice like this. So we'll catch you guys later. Alright, be safe. Curtis needed to take a quick trip to the bow to change a sheet. If you haven't already noticed the reason, we will tell you why soon.
Got a little squally this morning, and it's just been raining on and off here, so there's really no sense pushing it too hard and risking anything in variable weather and big shifts. We were seeing about 30 to 40 degree wind shifts happening. We didn't want to play that game. We just want to mosey along nice and easy, get on down the road. So that's what we're doing. Wave state is still pretty big, but not too bad. What do you think?
Beautiful sunset. Last night we had the whisker pole on and we noticed that it was chafing right through, as you can see here. So we finally went up today and put on a new one. Even though it had the jib rolled up, it's pretty floppy in this downwind angle, so we just decided to roll it up and use the main and the waves for speed. So we're just having a good time. Got the new jib sheet on, batteries are charging, and it's going to be a nice night.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody. It is the morning of day 3 and the sun has been coming up. The wind has been pretty consistent for the last 24 hours. Maybe a little bit lighter right now, but we still see some good puffs. And my hair is still a little bit crazy from taking a wave to the face on the first day from all the salt water. But anyways, we still have just a third reef in the main. And we sometimes are seeing surfs of up to 12 knots of boat speed. So even though we are averaging probably around 5.5, 6 knots, 6.5 knots, we're still seeing crazy surfs with some giant waves behind us. So that is what we're up to on the morning of day 3. Keeping it comfortable, just trying to keep our energy up, and we'll see today if the winds a wave just broke on the deck behind the camera, so it was like, ah. But anyway, so we are going to see what today brings, if the waves flatten out a little bit or if the winds lighten a little bit, or if we're just feeling good, maybe we'll put up the spinnaker and have a little fun, go for a little rip and pick up our boat speed a little bit. So yeah, that's what we're up to today. Catch up with you guys later. Everyone is always curious how Roxy does her business on board during long passages. It's just like at home. We go outside for a walk, but this time it's around the deck. We usually involve the both of us. One person goes for a walk, while the other watches on for safety. And we try to go when the weather is nice, but Roxy has adapted nicely to handling big waves and even rain. 4 paws are sometimes better than 2 feet. While the non-skid deck works great for our human feet to grip and stay on board, it acts as a skating rink for the dog paws. So we make sure she's got her life jacket and harness on whenever she goes outside.
Good dog.
It's fun for Roxy too. She gets to sniff some fresh air and often finds the stray flying fish or squid on deck that we sometimes use for fishing bait. Having a dog on board is just another added adventure.
Time to head to the foredeck to get a little work done. But just what exactly are we doing up there? We are changing the sheeting position of the jib. As the wind changes, we need to respond by trimming the sails differently or changing their angle of attack. The jib tracks on most boats are usually in a compromise or all-purpose position. We can get better performance out of our headsail by moving the sheet forward and aft or in or out. In this case, we are reaching at a fairly deep angle, so we need to open the slot with the mainsail and widen the angle of our jib to the wind. This is called setting up an outside lead. Here are the basics. We use the sheet to control the shape of the sail. We can control its draft, depth or flatness, and its curve, leach profile. In general, moving your sheet position back flattens the sail and opens the leach. Moving your jib sheeting position forward closes the leach and increases draft in the foot. You also saw us change the halyard tension earlier. That also affects the draft. Moving your sheet inward closes the slot and works well when you are at speed in flat water, have flatter sails, and are at tight upwind angles. Moving your sheet outboard opens the slot, allowing for more room for more air to flow between the main and the jib, essentially creating a Venturi effect. What you really want is to envision a nice smooth airflow over your sails, like in a wind tunnel, with the mainsail and jib working together in unison, and all telltales flying back and moving together. Easy, right?
Good job.
When trimming at weird angles, we sometimes cross sheet or run the second sheet across the cockpit to the opposite winch. 2 sheets at once allows more fine-tuned control. We also put on some shape prevention.
Good morning. It's about 11 a.m. and we are 48 hours into this sail. We are still off the coast of Africa, headed to Cape Verde. For now though, we put the full jib back out. We've got our brand new Evolution Expedition Series jib flying out front. He's 130% and it's made out of carbon, and so far it looks really, really good. We picked up our speed about 2 knots since unrolling it, and we expect to have a little bit faster average here coming right up. Some of you guys at home might be wondering why we are not flying our spinnaker right now. Well,
I would really, really like to, and I think in a situation with more crew we would, but with just the two of us and such a long way to go, there's really no sense in tiring us out. We really don't need it to stay ahead of any weather patterns. We might as well just save it. We've got a long, long way to go, so there's no sense in flying it with gusts to 25. Even though we can, we know, and we have flown it before in 25 knots of breeze, and it goes really good. We would be doing 11s and 12s easy right now, but we don't need to. So we're just really, really happy and content. We don't have a lot of heel angle, we don't have a lot of struggle, the autopilot can drive easily, the boat is balanced, and that is really what we want offshore for this type of sailing. All right, back to your regularly scheduled program.
Oh, two at a time.
I'm gonna go up front and go.
Okay, go get them.
Good evening. It is just about midnight here, GMT, and we are surfing right along. We're hitting speeds up to 12 knots and generally probably averaging about 7 to 7.5 knots. We've got 3 reefs in the main and the jib furled probably about 30%, 20 to 30% to like a number 3-ish type position. But we're still really scooting along. We changed some of our autopilot settings because we were having a little bit of trouble with it driving in a few extreme wave situations. Really when we got hit broadside with a wave. So we adjusted its roll responsiveness, and I think that has helped out quite a bit. You can really feel the boat. As soon as it gets lifted up on the wave, you can feel the boat get driven down by the rudder really quick. So that has made a really, really big improvement. All right, and you can see here is where we started. This is Tenerife, and we've got Africa over here, Morocco, Western Sahara, and then you have the Guineas down here, and then Sierra Leone, which is right down here. Our course, we're basically going to come straight down here. This is our rum line. You see this black line, which takes us down to South America. So we're right here. We're about halfway. And we continue to move right along. You can see here now our barometric pressure is about 1014, and that's actually right about what we're running right over here. So that's kind of confirming that we're pretty close to where we're at inside of this model. That's something I like to look at when doing weather routing, to start to see where I'm at in the actual model. So this actually seems fairly accurate for us, at least with this. The next thing I want to compare is the wind direction and speeds. And the wind direction is right on with the model, and the speed is pretty darn close. So I feel like this model right now is trending to be fairly accurate, and we can continue to use them. Right now we have the autopilot set on true wind angle because we're sailing downwind, and we're set at about 145 degrees true wind angle, which is just about off of our port aft quarter. And that's really given us some nice surfs down some of these waves and not a lot of heel angle. But as you can see, stuff in the boat is really moving around right now, and shows you kind of how rough it really is outside. So sometimes I can keep my coffee right there, but every once in a while we'll have a really big wave and this puppy will come sliding all the way across, and if I don't catch him in time, he'll spill all over the computer. So we don't normally keep him here. But we do have waves that are going on that are big enough to actually tip the coffee over right now.
Don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Fair winds and following seas. Until next week.